Hey guys, I'm back here with another video. This topic is, by internet standards, pretty old now, but there was a lot of changing and moving, so I kind of wanted to not really look at it until maybe some of the updates have come out for the story. And it's a pretty crazy story. I don't know what to truly believe here, but it's too fun. It's too fun to talk about, I think. So Jason Schreier at Kotaku, which, you know, when Jason Schreier actually does games journalism, he's actually fairly good. I got to give him credit in a lot of places. I know he does some of his, game journos, bullcrap, but when he actually wants to do journalism, he does a pretty good job. So, former Gearbox lawyer accuses CEO Randy Pitchford of taking secret $12 million bonus in lawsuit Gearbox calls absurd. And it was updated this past Friday. The former General Counsel of game studio Gearbox, who created Borderlands and Alien Colonial Marines, and CEO Randy Pitchford are suing one another in a messy legal battle that sees both men accused of violating their legal duties to the company. The suit against Pitchford is full of sensational allegations, including the accusation that the Gearbox CEO received a secret $12 million bonus from the publisher Take-Two Interactive as an advance against Borderlands profits. Wade Callender, who served as Gearbox lawyer from 2010 until 2018, filed a suit on December 21, 2018, accusing Pitchford of violating various contracts involving both Gearbox and a separate real estate company that they both owned, as well as Callender's own employment contract. The allegations made by a disgruntled former employee are absurd, with no basis in reality or law, said a Gearbox spokesman in a statement to Kotaku. We look forward to addressing this meritless lawsuit in a court and have no further comment at this time. Callender's suit was filed 1 month after Gearbox sued him in a separate case for fraud and breach of fiduciary duty. Gearbox alleged that Callender borrowed money from Gearbox for a home loan and tuition they did not pay back in full, and that Callender abused the privileges of credit card access by charging unapproved, wholly personal expenses, including family vacations, gun club memberships, and firearms accessories, in trying to get six-pack abs. Gearbox also... random hiccup. Gearbox also accused Callender of destroying evidence of the home loan agreement he made with the studio. You can read that suit in full below. So, it starts off by... Now, Callender and Randy, they appeared to have been friends, right? So, more than likely, there's some kind of falling out here. Gearbox sued him for fraud because he took advantage of company money, which is... that is a fraud. I mean, a lot of companies have, corporate credit cards, and if you abuse it, it's bye-bye. It is not something that a lot of companies take lightly, especially in this case. I mean, these kind of things happen often, and probably from Callender's point of view, he was friends with Randy. He's like, oh, it's okay, I can spend this money. And he probably did without Randy knowing, and when Randy found out, stuff went downhill very quickly. And this stuff happens in the corporate world all the time. So this is believable to me. And for a general counsel of a company to do this definitely is a breach of his fiduciary duty, which you can definitely take someone to court for ignoring their fiduciary duties. So let's continue here. According to Callender's lawsuit, which you can also read in full below, Callender and Pitchford were longtime friends. Well, there you go. Backed up by an old tweet from Pitchford, whose relationship fell apart over the last 2 years. The lawsuit alleges that Pitchford struck a deal in 2016 to receive a personal, secretive executive bonus of $12 million to be paid directly to Pitchford entity called Pitchford Entertainment Media Magic LLC. That bonus, Callender and his lawyers argue, is an advance upon royalties that would otherwise go to Gearbox's staff. It's a particularly tragic exploitation, the lawsuit states, because these millions are being siphoned to Randy Pitchford's personal accounts instead of funding the development of Borderlands. Callender's most lurid allegation against Pitchford is an accusation surrounding an event that he says occurred in 2014. Callender says that Pitchford left a USB drive in a Dallas, Texas restaurant containing sensitive corporate documents from Gearbox and its partners, including 2K Games, Sega, Sony, Microsoft, and others. Says the lawsuit, upon information and belief Randy Pitchford's USB drive to also contain Pitchford's personal collection of quote-unquote underage pornography. That is a spicy take, or a spicy claim. And and claims like that definitely deserve, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, because that's pretty big. Several hours after the publication of this story, Ars Technica tracked down a Magic podcast in which Pitchford had appeared last year. Around the same time, a Gearbox spokesperson also emailed the podcast to Kotaku. In an episode that went live December 22nd, 2018, the day after the lawsuit was filed, Pitchford told his version of the USB stick story. Say that 10 times fast. For the first time, he said, Pitchford described his enjoyment of camgirl pornography, in which a woman streams live erotic content, and explained that he had saved a porn video of a camgirl on said memory stick before it was lost. That's not totally unbelievable, considering the fact that Chatterbait is a thing, and apparently very popular, so yeah. It's a woman who is masturbating, Pitchford said, and when she has some experience, it appears as if she's having an orgasm. A huge amount of liquid flows out of her vagina. God. Are we really talking about squirting porn in a lawsuit with Gearbox Entertainment? Oh, Lord. Okay, so this is not a sex worker. This is a fucking magician, he added. Saying he had purchased one of her videos and put it on the USB stick. Some kid, an employee at the Medieval Times, discovered this memory stick, took it home, and accessed it because it was before we were password protecting, and discovered secrets of my company and future games in development, and also discovered the pornography. And it was barely legal porn. The girl's handle was only 18. So... okay, so... let's just rephrase this. On his USB stick, he had squirting porn from a cam girl that was 18, who, we're assuming is 18 based on her handle. And I'm assuming he probably got this off Chatterbait or something, or, which those sites, they're pretty protective about that kind of thing. They really don't want to be in trouble for underage porn. So, he considers a woman who is squirting to be a magician, like it's a magic trick. Oh my word! I'm still having problems getting around that. So he left this USB stick, first off, why is he storing porn with sensitive documents? And he leaves that at Medieval Times, a theme restaurant. And you have some poor kid who discovers the stick, goes into it and sees it and finds the porn. I mean, this is just pure gold right here. Gearbox also sent over a new statement several hours after the publication of this article. And the statement reads, Gearbox will be filing a grievance with the State Bar of Texas against our former General Counsel, Wade, for disciplinary proceedings for filing a lawsuit that includes accusation he knows to be untrue. The lawyer's rules of professional conduct expressly prohibit the filing of documents that are knowingly false. The tell is within Wade's claim itself. His use of hedged lawyer language and clever application of quotation marks betrayed that he knows the impression he is trying to create is based in lies. We imagine that he used the quotation marks and lawyer language in hopes that will give him some angles of defense when we inevitably take action against him for false statements. Wade is engaged in a shakedown, and he's clearly using deceit and lies to try to cause damage by promoting a narrative that he knows is false. Callender also accused, which I'm going to go in a little bit more detail about that here in a moment. Callender had also accused Pitchford of holding parties in which adult men have reportedly exposed themselves to minors to the amusement of Randy Pitchford. In a statement sent to Kotaku several hours after the publication of this article, Gearbox also denied this, saying that Pitchford and his wife hold a regular variety show that's recorded and that nothing of the sort occurred there. This is terminology that the Pitchfords have never used, a spokesperson said, referring to the term peacock parties, to which the lawsuit refers. It was made up by Wade in a further attempt to paint a sensational picture that is demonstrably false. So, let me just go ahead and actually finish this here. We only got a couple more paragraphs. The spokesman added that this show has featured some of the most respected and renowned performers in the world and has been attended by prominent members of the local community and larger media, linking to various press coverage of Pitchford's show at his venue, which is called the Peacock Theater. Gearbox, founded in 1999, is best known for the critically and commercially acclaimed Borderlands, blah, blah, blah. And this is, I think, an important note, too. Randy has courted controversy several times over the years, most notably for his statements on the critically panned Aliens Colonial Marines, the game that also became the center of a messy litigation back in 2014. And then they have the full suit here below. They got Gearbox suit against Calendar, and then Calendar suit against Gearbox. So basically, what this sounds like to me is that you have a lawyer or general counsel of a company who is being sued for frauding the company, which is something you can definitely sue someone for. And this stuff happens all the time, so this is not unusual. This is something that's not unheard of, and thus I would say it's probably fairly believable. And it's very possible that this is the cause of the breakdown of Randy and Calendar's, or Pitchford's and Calendar's friendship, was the fact that he was defrauding the company of their funds. So, again, those claims are not extraordinary, and more than likely to protect himself, Calendar has created a lawsuit that is very, very. He's obviously retaliating. Now, there's two parts to this. Okay, so the $12 million that goes to Randy Pitchford. One, you have to kind of know the details of that. Let's find here. So the lawsuit alleges that Pitchford struck a deal in 2016 to receive a personal secretive executive bonus of $12 million to pay directly to Pitchford entity called Pitchford Entertainment Magic Media, or Media Magic LLC. That bonus, Calendar and his lawyers argued, is advance upon royalties that would have otherwise gone to Gearbox's staff. So this, if anything, in the report or in the countersuit, this is the only thing that may have meat, but adding in the whole underage pornography thing, which I tend to side with Gearbox and believe Randy, because what's going to happen is that video is going to come out, it's going to be in court and stuff, and really all it is to smear. Even if Calendar cannot prove this, and there's no way to prove that Randy was in possession of underage, quote unquote underage pornography, then if they can't prove it, it still smears Randy and paints him in negative light, which will help Calendar's lawsuit against Randy. Now, as far as the $12 million executive bonus, if it's an executive bonus to be paid to Randy from their publisher, then that's fine. I mean, it's with his money, he could do with it whatever he wants, if he wants to give it to employees or not. Now, could Randy be doing something a little shady? Very possible. There was many reports back in the day, and I think Kotaku's kind of referring to this here with the Aliens game, which they say here became the center of a messy litigation back in 2014. That he had siphoned money from that game to help work on Borderland projects. I don't know if it was specifically Borderlands 2 or if it may be Borderlands 3, but it was definitely money that was being siphoned, was supposed to be for Aliens, but it went to the Borderlands franchise. And this was kind of a messy deal. I think it was money that Sega had given to Pitchford or to Gearbox, and they kind of really misappropriated the money, if you will, for their benefit, because Aliens was a terrible game. It was very lackluster, very buggy. There was, like, the AI was completely garbage, and someone found that there was a bit of code that was like missing a digit, and when they fixed it, the game became actually much better. But it was obviously the game didn't go through QA. It was obvious that they didn't spend as much money as they could have on this game to make it a better game. And of course, Randy, will defend it, and he has been very antagonistic in defending that game. And that's the other thing, is that Randy is very antagonistic. Is very antagonistic to the game's media. He's definitely ruffled some feathers in the past. And the other thing that there should be context on is this Peacock Party thing. Now, Randy is, I believe, even before he started Gearbox, he was a magician by trade, and it's still a hobby that he likes. So he likes to participate in. So he does like magic tricks. He likes sleight of hand and whatnot. So it's not unheard of for somebody with money to use that money on his hobbies, which would be these performance shows. And if these were with prominent local members of the community and larger media going to these events, and the whole minors exposing themselves, that would have come out before now, you would think. So again, it's very possible. The extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and it does really seem like Wade Callender is trying to paint Randy Pitchford in a very negative light to help probably what is a weak argument against this secretive executive bonus of $12 million. Make Randy look bad, and it kind of gives context to Randy is, not nice to his employees. That's the thing, is that this money was stipulated to be given to employees, including Randy, then that's a problem. But if it was not stipulated and Randy could do whatever he wants, it makes him look greedy, but, it's his money to do with what he wishes. So I don't think Callender really has a lawsuit there, and so he throws in these peacock parties and the underage porn thing into the lawsuit just to paint a bad picture of Randy, to set the precedent that Randy's not a great guy, so thus he misappropriated this $12 million. So that's what this lawsuit feels like to me. While yes, I think Randy's kind of, I don't want to say scumbag, but he's not the most honest of people. Just based on what they did with the Aliens game, and what you see Randy is like on social media, especially against other journalists and YouTubers, he does a great disservice to himself. So this whole thing, I think, is kind of a nothing burger story. I think the real story is that, Gearbox had a General Counsel that was defrauding the company of money, and then they're suing them. There was a big falling out, and so now you have people basically calling each other names via lawsuits. So that's what I think this is. More than likely, Randy's probably not in the wrong in any of this. Again, there could be evidence that comes out, and if it does, we'll talk about it then. But from this point, it just looks, Callender just looks kind of petulant, and he's probably trying to save face to say, I may have done these bad things, but Randy's a scumbag too. And that's really what it's coming down to, these two lawsuits. So anyways, I kind of wanted to wait to see how much of the story would be changed. There wasn't really many updates since Friday, so I decided to go ahead and do a video of this. But anyways, if you like this content, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you disagree with me, or if there's some salient points I missed, go ahead and leave a comment. But I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.